What's going on, everyone? Cell here, and welcome back to an update for the Lightning Conduit Trickster in solo self-found softcore Kalandra. So I've been playing a few more days since the last video, up to level 88 now. In the background you'll see some footage of me running a tier 11. Not my first shred map, but one of the first for sure. Done a handful before this one. And things have been going pretty well. Got a decent amount of gear upgrades since the last video. I'll go over those more afterwards. And overall, the skill has felt, again, more smooth than I expected. Offensively, and then obviously Trickster is pretty solid defensively. I do have quite a number of deaths since the last video, but mostly to me trying to face tank stuff I probably shouldn't be. For the most part, the sustain is amazing. Like you see in the background, I'm taking hits here, and ES is not really moving, because I just didn't notice something was hitting me. And yeah, so the main hang-up I had for a little bit was the damage, but ended up getting a few upgrades. I hit a rough spot, maybe like tier 6 to 8 maps, before I ended up trying to, or I really needed more links. I did not put those links where I initially thought I might. I actually 5-linked my Orb of Storms first. You can see in the background footage here that I have Orb of Storms 5-linked and Lightning Conduit 4-linked still. That's a little bit deceptive, but I did have a 5-link actually at the beginning of last video that I didn't end up using because I just wanted the defenses of the other armor I was using. The 5-link I found is a low-level pure energy shield base, and I didn't want to give up the evasion and more energy shield from my other armor to be able to use that one. But I eventually decided to do so and then throw my fusings at my 6-socket armor that I had that was pretty high defenses until it landed a 5-link, and then I switched to that. Didn't take too long. It was probably like 100, 120 fusings, which was, everything I had up to that point, really, but not a huge deal. Beyond that, I have been focusing on essences quite a bit, as you often do in solo self-found when it's an option, and I picked up an essence of horror. Actually, I don't think it was a horror. I think it was not insanity. I don't know, not insanity or horror, I know that much. And I harvest swapped it to a horror and threw that on a helmet. Rolled pretty decently defensively, and yeah, so that is now my effective 5-link. It's 30% more elemental damage for socketed gems, so it's an effective 5th link for Lightning Conduit, which is pretty solid. And that's what I've been using since then, and that's what I'm using in the background here. You can tell the damage, again, not the most amazing, could obviously have more, but still got a lot to improve weapon and shield wise, and even in terms of jewelry could get a lot of damage there, as well as levels and all that jazz. Being able to pick up more passives and fit more things in terms of that is pretty good. Anyways, I'm gonna cut to some live footage here and go with the gear and such. So I forgot to touch at all on the fact that we are low life now. So looking at the passives here, did end up picking up low life, pain attunement. Let's see, in terms of tree, other than that, stun immunity is a thing, because really low life means really low stun threshold. And the way around that, for me at least, is to pick up chance to avoid being stunned, so 25 there. Garotha does this as well, which is my inspiration for doing so. 10% there, 20% there, 30% there, 20% there, and that's a total of 105%, I think. So yeah, pretty solid there. This mastery used to be all res. Was able to compensate for that on gear and switch to effective ailments. So that's yet another damage increase. And I think I mentioned this in the last video, but my main stipulation about going low life was just the chaos res. So if we look on the defense tab, up to 66 positive chaos res, which is quite high. Max of 76 at the moment because the +1 here. I do have quite a bit on tree from this. That's, what, 30, 45%? So quite a lot there. And then I have these gloves are pretty much garbage except for the 25 chaos res. This ring obviously has quite a bit. Amethyst ring. Let's see, what else? A couple of hybrid crafts is also propping me up. So I guess these gloves in total have 39. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. So all that combined makes chaos damage a non-issue for the most part, especially with this mastery here, which is 30% of chaos damage taken. Does not bypass energy shield. So think about it, I have 1.4k life and 66 positive res. So between the mastery and that, it's kind of like having a really high life pool but with 0% chaos res in terms of effective chaos damage mitigation. So yeah, all in all, pretty comfortable. Have yet to die to chaos damage or degens or anything like that. Or I guess I should say anything going directly to my health through my ES. If I do die, it's usually because, you know, ran out of ES and couldn't sustain, or I'm running back and kiting things and get hit out of nowhere or something. But yeah, in terms of the gear as a whole, or each individual item I should say, rings are pretty decent now. Getting good res, stats, mana sustain there. I'm not running clarity at the moment because just couldn't fit it in. I forgot that I needed to be leveling in arrogance the entire time I was leveling, so when I finally went low life, the cost and reservation multiplier was way too high to run both, what is this, Lightning, Tempest Shield, and Clarity. So I just dropped Clarity, and instead what's propping me up a bit is this mana recovery here and the minus mana cost on the rings. Lightning Conduit only costs 7. I'm up to 66 mana regen a second. Overstorm's 22. Wave Conviction 14, etc., etc. The body armor is also pretty decent, but could be better. The spell suppression is pretty nice because I'm still not capped yet. 73 there. Looking to do something about that. Hopefully, probably get a different shield, as well as some better gloves and or boots to help out with that problem. Helmet is kind of not an option at the moment because, you know, I need my essence craft in there. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. The body armor definitely helps. If I can get an Eldritch Implicit, that would help as well to fill things out in that regard. So yeah, closer I can get to 100%, and sooner I can get to 100%, the better there. One thing is I don't really want to give up this +1 lightning on this shield yet, but I probably will if it's going to get me spell suppression capped, especially if it comes with more evasion ES. I'm IDing evasion ES bases specifically for that. What else do we got? This helmet, kind of mentioned I crafted an Essence of Horror. Turned out pretty decently. I had everything on this minus the crafted mod plus like a 40 life roll, and then I kind of did a bad order of things. I have this Deicide Mask, which is a better base, higher energy shield. I found an Insanity Essence, which is 30% more damage on low life, which is the exact same thing. Is pretty much the same as this one. A little better in some ways, a little worse in others. The decks and the lightning res, even though they're small, are pretty nice. And had an open prefix. Well, I figured if I hit a worse mod than I did, which actually it might have hit the better, with an annul, then I could craft the +1 here. But I'd already crafted it here, so it was kind of just a waste of chaos, all things considered. So yeah, overall the 30% more and the +1 here are a decent chunk of damage. I'm leveling a couple more. Didn't really have gem slots to level things before, although I probably should start leveling a few more. So hopefully I can get a 21, level 21 Lightning Conduit, which would be another big boost in damage, especially coming from 19. if I can hit that first or second try, that'd be pretty nice. So overall, I'd say my weakest 3 points of gear right now are probably the amulet, gloves, and boots. Boots I actually recently upgraded. I was running, oh, here they are. I had these boots before for the longest time. I got them while leveling. I think before third lab or second lab, maybe, somewhere around there, because that's where the enchantment came from. Yeah, I think it was Cruel Lab. So I've been running these for the longest time, but ended up throwing a couple essences at some two-tone boots to help with the res cap. Don't need the res from the implicit now, so I might end up replacing those with Eldritch implicits at some point, or just getting new boots, hopefully. Yeah. Again, just focusing on getting that spell suppression cap. I'm also doing Wave of Conviction, Hex Touch, Connectivity now, instead of just self-casting Connectivity. Interestingly enough, I don't always get lightning exposure from this, which is kind of annoying sometimes. You can see here it's about evenly split between fire and lightning. Because while I do have increased lightning damage throughout the tree, a lot of it is like general spell damage, and then I have flat lightning on the wand, which isn't helping. So yeah, sometimes takes a couple casts to get lightning exposure, and then, you know, it's not really any less efficient than self-casting Conductivity. I guess the reduced effectiveness, or not effectiveness, duration is kind of a hindrance, but if I'm going to be casting it multiple times anyways, it doesn't really matter. Anything else to go over? Oh, I've got a decent amount of flat life regen on gear, 159 you can see, which if I reserve again is like 12+% of my available life, which is pretty good. I'm still running a life flask right now with poison healing, I guess. I don't know what to call this. Poison immunity. Just for the sake of it, I might end up dropping this to run something else, because, oh, that's another thing to mention. I could increase my damage by running a Divine Blessing Wrath, which is something I want to do, but that is pretty expensive in terms of sockets and mana. So what I need to do is move some stuff over, unlink some stuff, then get a 2 red, 3 blue setup with Divine Blessing, Wrath, and Inspiration for the reduced mana cost. As well as that, probably swap this out to 10% reduced mana cost. This is reduced cost while in full ES, which will sometimes happen. And then I did run a Katarina and got some pretty bad Flask Unveil options. The best one for me was reduced mana cost during Flask effects, so I went with that. If I can get that with some decent, a flask with decent duration, then I could use that. Like, say I put it on a Sulfur Flask with decent duration, then, you know, I'm using Sulfur in single target situations already anyways, so I'll just know that, you know, I can use my Sulfur, and then my Divine Blessing aura will hopefully be cheap enough to use at that point. Although, as you can tell, I have like no unreserved mana, which is really unfortunate. Anyways, that's about it for this update. Oh, I didn't go over my Atlas strategy real quick. Generally, you know, pretty typical solo self-found strategy, like I said. Essences here, come up through the middle, pick up the shaping nodes here for the bonus higher tier map chance. At that point, I also came over here and picked up Focused Investigation for more Syndicate missions. Hence why I was able to run Katarina. That's been helping out quite a bit. Also have Covert Stakeouts for increased chance of Master missions from June. Came over here, picked up Stream of Consciousness. Over here towards the middle, Commissioned Officer, these 2 shaping nodes. Then I believe at that point I started picking up Expedition things. Then I came back over, picked up Amplified Energies, Crystal Resonance, and now I'm heading over to Buried Knowledge. Still have not blocked any content, so I'm seeing a base of like 12% plus anything else right now. Yeah, I mostly haven't done so because I kind of want something from everything. I guess there are some things at this point that I think I don't want that would be safe to block, like Ritual. I think I could block safely. Blight, I'm close to blocking, although I still don't have an Anointment. Delirium, doesn't really matter. I'm not going to use Cluster Duels for this build at least. Metamorph, the Catalysts are kind of a high-end optimization kind of thing. The juice isn't worth the squeeze situation. So, could block that as well. Heist, I don't know how much I plan on doing Heist. I might check it out and see if I enjoy it. Breaches, I want Breach Stones, so I want to keep that. Abysses, I have a few Stygian Vises by now, so as well as Jewels, so that would be probably fine to block. Let's see, Sacred Grove and Expedition. I'm going to keep both those. Legion, not sure how I feel about Legion. It's kind of a similar deal with Breach. It's alright to run, I feel like, but Breach, I want the Breach Stones for the Invitation for Maven, whereas Legion doesn't have that. From here, probably going to finish out the Expedition out here, and then start picking up some Harvest things, because Harvest is still in a pretty good spot for SSF. Anyways, I think that's about it, and yeah, if you made it this far, and didn't get tired of watching, then much appreciated. If you could leave a like, comment, or subscribe, that would be as well. Anyways, see you next time. Peace.